Hello everyone, welcome. I'm here today with Tony from Heathrow Airport for a chat. Tony, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. It's good to be here.
Oh, great to have you here. Could you please introduce yourself and your responsibilities at Heathrow Airport?
Sure, I'm Tony Cacavoni. I'm the Surface Access Director at Heathrow Airport. I've worked at Heathrow for 10 years now. My accountabilities are quite broad at Heathrow and all related to surface transport. So I'm responsible for all our car parking products, both colleague and passenger at Heathrow, and also responsible for the Heathrow Express service and our long-term strategy and planning in encouraging colleagues and passengers to travel to and from the airport by sustainable travel mode. So I have a day-to-day operational role as well as a long-term strategic role too.
And so, I mean, we've been through COVID now for about 1.5 years, a bit more than that. What kind of impact have you seen on Heathrow Airport as a whole?
The impact has been enormous and catastrophic in terms of the collapse in passenger numbers, where an airport that's normally operating at 80 million passengers every year and growing incrementally then suffers such a catastrophic collapse in passenger numbers, and at the lowest points during 2020 we were down at below 10% of our normal passenger numbers, and that of course has such a extreme knock-on impact across the airport community and our colleagues and our passengers, and so we've had to go through some quite fundamental changes really in terms of how we've operated around the airport, and particularly from a surface access perspective, both parking and public transport too.
But are you seeing then improvement at the moment now, especially with the vaccination rollout, more people being ready to travel?
Yes, we have, and actually since the government started moving the UK out of lockdown in April and May, we've seen an incremental improvement in passenger numbers. So if we go back to April, we had about 500,000 or 600,000 passengers through the airport in April, and that doubled in May, and it's increasing. And so in July we were I think our passenger numbers were close on 2 million in July. So you can see how that has increased over the last few months, but we're still way below what we'd be normally operating and compared to, say, a July 2019 figure where we'd be up at the 6 or 7 million passenger numbers level. So we're still feeling the pain. We're operating across just 3 terminals at the moment, with Terminal 4 operating as a red arrivals facility for those passengers who are travelling into the UK from a country that's on the red list.
All right, and to pull through this period then, and what kind of changes did you go through? What kind of developments did you have?
Yeah, so one of the first things that we had to do, obviously throughout, we've kept operating, and so there was supporting our colleagues in the first instance in making sure they're safe, and because of the collapse in passenger demand, that obviously freed up a lot more space in our terminal adjacent car parks. So what we're able to do is enable our colleagues and the broader team Heathrow, so these are our airline partners and handlers and retailers, to park in our terminal car parks. So one, we were able to remove the requirement for colleagues to travel on perimeter buses, which is how they would normally get to and from the terminals from the perimeter car parks. But also enabled us to reduce the cost of operation as well by removing those bus services from operating around the airport. And so that was the first big change that we had to do very early, and that has continued up until really the last couple of months, when as the passengers have returned, we've needed that terminal adjacent parking back for passengers. And so what we've done is now start to move colleagues back into into the perimeter car parks as the colleagues have come back from furlough as well. So it's really been quite a fundamental change in how we've operated and how we've looked to reduce cost to cover the losses that we've suffered through the pandemic.
And would you say you've had to, stay dynamic, be ready for quick changes then?
Yeah, well, absolutely, because the government guidance has come through at pretty short notice, and so whether it's operations within the terminal or around the airport, we've had to be quite lively to the changes that have come in and respond very quickly, making sure that we've got the right safety precautions in place for colleagues, we've got the right social distancing measures, we've got the right assessments of bus capacity and things like that, working with other transport operators as well to make sure we've got the right provision at the right time in accordance with the latest government guidance. So it's been a very dynamic time, but also at a time when many of Team Heathrow, both from my team and across the airport, are doing very different jobs with much fewer resources than what they'd normally use. So it's been a very, very challenging time at the airport over the last 18 months.
And so what are your expectations then for the future? Is there light at the end of the tunnel and more positivity?
Yeah, absolutely, and we've seen that with the increase in passenger numbers over the last 2 months or so since government started lifting restriction and enabling passengers who are fully vaccinated to travel to green countries without such a stringent testing requirement. So we're seeing passengers come back, which is fantastic. We're in the busy summer months. We're looking to September to see what that might mean from a business traveller perspective. But one of the other things we have seen is an increase in the number of passengers travelling to and from the airport by car. So essentially a car-led recovery as government guidance has been to avoid public transport during the height of the pandemic. And one thing that we are very conscious of is how do we reverse that trend in terms of that car-led recovery? Because one of the key things that we want to do is avoid the congestion around the airport, but also support our sustainability ambitions and reduce the number of private vehicles travelling to and from the airport to support our carbon targets and our sustainability agenda.
Well, Tony, thank you very much for the time today. I hope that there's going to be continuing to be more positive news into the future, and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for watching today. Make sure to like and subscribe, and make sure to also join us for the next one.